everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to yet another reset video. This month I am resetting for December. In case you don't know what the reset videos pertain, I do a little bit of decorating. I'm going to be setting up my December reading journal and I'm going to also be discussing my December TBR. I love these videos because it's so many fun things just mashed into one. And obviously, since it's December, I'm going to be decorating for the holidays, which is so exciting because I do love Christmas quite a bit. And I'm just really excited about some of the things that I ended up buying the other day. So to kick off this video, let's go back in time and head to Michael's and let's do a little bit of decorating.
It's giving Range the Apprentice.
I like this one.
Christmas tree. That's so America. Your turn.
The fat bird.
Oh, he's a thicken.
Before we go any further, I did want to talk about Hey Happiness. Now, Hey Happiness has worked with this channel in the past and I absolutely adore their jewelry. Hey Happiness is kindly offering y'all a special discount using my code Cassandra10. You can get 15% off for orders over 29 euros. As well as the discount, you also can get a surprised gift for orders over 39 euros, 2 surprise gifts for orders over 79 euros, and 3 surprise gifts for orders over 109 euros. I got this stunning Pisces gold necklace as well as this beautiful chained pearl bracelet. So on top of all of that, Hey Happiness plants one tree for every single item sold. Thank you again to Hey Happiness for working with my channel once again, and like I said, use code Cassandra10 to get 15% off during the holidays.
Alright, I am obsessed with how my Christmas decor came out. I love that I was able to find like a Christmas fox. I was like, how thematic. I absolutely love it so much, and I hope you enjoyed that little segment of a little bit of chaos in the Michaels with my best friend Lexi, and then the relaxing decorating. Now I'm going to be setting up my December reading journal, so sit back, relax yet again, and let's get to journaling. usually do like Christmas themes for my journal, but these Julianne Doodles stickers were so cute that I could not pass up the opportunity to use them in my journal. I really enjoyed setting up all of my pages, and I hope you had a nice relaxing time listening to some good music while I did that. And now it is the moment you have all been waiting for. Maybe you've been waiting for it, maybe you haven't, but let's talk about my a little bit ambitious, and by a little bit I mean a lot of bit, ambitious TBR. Starting with a book that was not supposed to be on my TBR, but here we are, and it somehow jumped its way onto it because I started it the other day and I want to finish it in the month of December, and that is The Wiseman's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. If you don't know, the first time I read this book, it took me 10 months to finish because I started it in February, March-ish, and I finished this last year in December. And I think it's the perfect time to pick it up again, and hopefully it will not take me 10 months to finish, but instead only take me 1 month to finish. It is just under 1,000 pages, which is kind of a lot. I was going to put The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson on this TBR, but when I picked up The Wiseman's Fear, I limited myself to only one almost 1,000-page book instead of two, because if I put both of those books on my TBR, that will be my entire TBR for the entire month. I am taking this book little bit by little bit, and I've started annotating it as well. I really love annotating Patrick Rothfuss's book. He has some beautiful lines, some really quippy dialogue, and I really enjoy his characters. In this book, we are following Kvothe, and he is telling the story of his life in 3 days. And this is day 2 of him explaining his life and his story. I don't recall the first half of this book very much since I read it so long ago and then took a big gap before I finished it last year. I remember segments of the end, and I just want to reread it for I can decide if I like The Name of the Wind more or The Wiseman's Fear more. There is supposed to be a third book, The Doors of Stone, but it has not been released for like 15 some odd years. Big drama, big chaos, but with the books that we have, I'm absolutely in love and adore this series, and even if we never get a conclusion, I'm mildly content. I'm not too invested, but I just love being able to dive into Patrick Rothfuss's writing and just take it all in little by little. I actually have a second Patrick Rothfuss book on this TBR, and it's also another one that I'm in the middle of, and that is The Slow Regard of Silent Things. I started this sometime in the summer, I believe, and I think I'm halfway through. It is the literal tiniest, ittiest bittiest novel. It's under 200 pages, and I was listening to the audiobook and I could not finish it. I think I'm pretty close to the end. I'm going to find my spot and just go ahead and finish reading it. I will say this isn't my favorite book. It follows a character named Ari, and she lives underground in the tunnels underneath the university, and we get to learn more about her character. It's very quirky, very whimsical, but in terms of plot, there is none. It's very much vibes and getting to know more about Ari, but I was a little bit bored because I was trying to listen to it on audio while I was driving, and I definitely was falling asleep, so I had to switch audiobooks, and I had meant to come home and finish reading it physically, but that did not happen. This book does have some illustrations and such throughout it. It's definitely not like the most interesting illustration I could have shown, but I think it would be nice to flip through this and find my spot and also appreciate the different illustrations. It is the end of the year, so it'd be nice to finish up some books that I'm in the middle of before diving into the new year. So we have actually 3 books on this TBR that I'm in the middle of, which the next one is A Study in Drowning, or no, it is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I am halfway through this. I am on page 203. Oh, this is one of my favorite bookmarks. I was wondering what book it was in the middle of. Things finally did start picking up. We are following this architect student who is basically tasked with redesigning this house, but the house is like falling apart and there's some sketchy stuff going on, and she has a little bit of a rival, but not really. I think this was marketed really badly. It's supposed to be dark academia, but we only got academia for about a chapter or 2 before it moved on to this like gothic setting, and I'm not really one for gothic settings, so I should DNF this book, but part of me wants to push through and finish it. Honestly, if I don't finish this by the end of December, I will just unhaul and DNF it, but it probably will get unhauled regardless, unfortunately, at the end of this year. So those are the 3 books that I'm in the middle of that I want to kind of complete, and the rest of these books are books that I just hope to get to. This one I will for sure get to, and this is Big Panda and Tiny Dragon by James Norbury. I picked this up on a whim at Target. Target was having a 2-for-1 sale, and I saw this and I had to buy it because it's so damn cute. It's literally just a picture book with a little bit of writing on each page. I don't know if any of that is showing. but the art style is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it is so quaint and precious, and it follows this big panda and this tiny dragon throughout the seasons. And I cannot wait to flip through this and appreciate it for what it is. I'm just absolutely obsessed with the art style, and the journey through the seasons I think will be really fun. And the dedication is absolutely beautiful. It reads, "This book is dedicated to everyone who gets lost." Yeah, it's just really cute, really sweet, a really quick read, I'm sure, and I can't wait to see this big panda and this tiny dragon throughout the different seasons while they travel. Oh my gosh, wait, it also has a little bookmark. This got a bookmark. The next book on my TBR is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which also leads me to my next book, which is Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the Letters of Enchantment series, I believe. I was holding out on reading Divine Rivals because I have heard it ends on a cliffhanger, and since I put off reading it for so long, I decided, why not hang out and wait until the next book comes out? That way I don't have to deal with the cliffhanger that everyone has been talking about. I was excited to pick this up because I know Katie loved it, but then I was talking to Jan Agaton and she said that it was one of her favorite books of 2023, and that got me even more excited to read this. We're following two rivals are writing letters to each other without knowing who they're corresponding with. Apparently it's Shadow and Bone meets Lore by Alexander Bracken. And I love both of those series, and the fact that like gods are at war and they're kind of mixed up in everything sounds like such an interesting concept, and I'm really excited to dive into this book, and I really hope that I'll love it. And then obviously Ruthless Vow I want to get to, and I don't know anything about it because I didn't read the blip since I haven't read the first one. I know a lot of people are very excited about Ruthless Vows, so I'm excited to be able to join the little hype train and talk about it once I read it. The next book is a fun book that I really want to get to this year. If I don't, I'll pick it up early next year, but I need to read it as soon as possible, and that is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Middle England. I know I've talked about this book so much on this channel and I have yet to pick it up, but gosh darn, I want to read this book. This is by Brandon Sanderson, and it follows a time-traveling wizard, except for he has lost his memory and he's just trying to survive because he's on the run from someone. And it just sounds fun. It sounds very un-Brandon Sanderson-like, but I'm excited to see how he tackles this sort of book. But I haven't picked it up and I really want to because it just sounds so delightful. Yeah, that's it. It just seems like a fun book. The next book on my TBR is actually the December Wyverns and Words book club pick, which is a book club that Katie and I run. And for December, the pick is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. We are following Darrow, a red, like there's two different casts, red and gold from what I understand. And Darrow is living on Mars, and the Reds are tasked with making Mars livable. They think that they are doing the right thing in making Mars livable for their children and for generations to come. But Darrow discovers that actually they are working class and almost slaves, essentially, to the gold castes. So people are already living, Mars is already livable, and Darrow works to infiltrate the gold caste to kind of take them down, from what I understand. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, so I don't really have any expectations when I go into sci-fi books, but this concept sounds really interesting. It's also giving like mad early 2000s dystopian vibes, and I'm really excited. It is a trilogy. I think there's 6 books out right now, but it's like a trilogy, and then the next trilogy follows a different set of characters. So if I enjoy it, maybe I'll continue the series, but regardless, I am very excited to be able to read this book and then discuss it with all you lovely people who are a part of the book club. Speaking of the book club, a few months back we read Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and I wanted to read Starsight and Cytonic, which is the second and third books in the, does this have a series name? Nope, in the Skyward series. So we have book 2, which is Starsight. Apparently our main character is not in the same place as she was in book 1, so that's the main issue with this book that people seem to have. But regardless, I'm kind of excited to see her in a new environment. I have no idea what Cytonic follows, but the 4th book also came out. My library just does not have it. However, I will want to get to that as soon as I can get my hands on it. This is a fun, like, YA sci-fi series. I wasn't over the moon about the first book for the majority of it. However, near the end, it really picked up, and I trust Brandon Sanderson will not lead me astray, and so I decided that I would actually continue the series. That being said, if I don't enjoy book 2, I might not pick up book 3, so again, my TBR is super loose. I'm a super mood reader. Another book that I potentially want to get to, I just don't own it, and if I can get my hands on it from the library, I probably will pick it up, and that is Icebreaker. I know this is a really like book talk famous book, super popular over there. However, it just sounds really fun. I think it's an ice skater and a hockey player romance, and it feels very wintry, so I'd love to have at least like one winter thematic book considering we're going into December. My TBR is not very winter themed. It honestly consists mostly of books that I need to finish or things that I've like wanted to get to for a while, so oops on that. The last book on my TBR is a Ranger's Apprentice book. If you don't know, Ranger's Apprentice is my favorite series of all time, and I'm completing yet another reread of the series by finishing Ranger's Apprentice, The Emperor of Nihoja by John Flanagan. I reread the series every single year, and this year was gonna be the first exception of that. However, it is December, I am on the 10th book, so I am right on track. I'm really excited about this book. This book was one of my favorites for a long while. I don't think book 10 is my favorite anymore. However, it's such a good story. It has such good battles in this book. We get to see our main characters travel to a different continent and interact with a lovely cast of characters, and I'm just really eager to pick up and finish my reread. So this is my very, very ambitious TBR for December, and that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed watching me decorate, watching me journal, and listen to my TBR plans. Again, my TBR is always like really loose because I am such a mood reader, so these might not happen. Honestly, the Wisemans Sphere might just take up my whole month. I honestly don't know, but I hope to get some good reading in during the course of December. Please feel free to let me know some books on your December TBR. I always love talking with y'all about books in the comments, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Toodles!